Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the Grey. Today we are bringing back the Collecting a Battalion series, and this time we're going to be looking at the new Lumineth Realm-Lords. So the Lumineth Realm-Lords are the spiritual successors to the High Elves from the world that was. Well, at least part of the army is. There are certain aspects that look like that old world Ulthuan style High Elf that we remember from the world that was, but there's also some new elements that are, to say, put it bluntly, have divided opinions upon the release. Personally, I'm a massive fan of everything Lumineth, all parts of it I really enjoy. I like the Age of Sigmar style put into an old aesthetic. It looks really cool in my mind. Now, anyway, so let's talk about what this whole little series here called Collecting a Battalion is all about. Now, we've already done one of these before, and we'll probably have to update that one because the GHB's come out and changed a few of the lists in that, but this one is all about the Lumineth, and so what the idea of this is that a battalion can be a great way to collect an army. And so let's start with what is a War Scroll Battalion. So a War Scroll Battalion is like a special kind of formation comprised of various different units and characters that by taking such a combination will give you access to additional abilities for units inside the War Scroll Battalion while you play the game. This is really cool. It gives you bonuses for taking units that belong together in the narrative. That's always cool in my mind. If it pushes the narrative, it's got my okay. But why Collected Battalion? Well, it could be a great way to collect to a theme. As previously mentioned, battalions are generally based around themes within armies, and so they require you to take units that in the narrative would fight alongside each other in particular ways. There are some great examples of this, like particularly the Thunderhead Brotherhood from Stormcast, where you have Liberators building up a shield wall and giving their shield benefits to Judicators who sit behind them. This is a really cool thematic thing that happens in the narrative, and so it's great to see that play out on the tabletop. It also gives you a goal to strive towards, though. Like, filling out a battalion is cool, and especially when you start looking further down the line into like those mega battalions. If you're really wanting to make a whole collection of a particular army, there'd be great ways to fill out and flesh out an army completely and give you a goal to reach. Lastly, though, as mentioned, you get bonuses for playing with those models, and they go together narratively, so you can easily build a narrative and have good rules to go alongside them. So the plan on this is to build an army focusing on the battalion, obviously, and then to thematically build upon the battalion if required. Not all battalions will fill out a 2,000 point army, which is what we're going to be trying to build, and also to have a framework to set an end goal within. So the battalion is the end goal, and the 2,000 point army around it, but you can fully flesh out that battalion, and that can be your true end goal. But let's get cracking into this and look at the Lumineth Realm-Lords, and we'll be looking at the battalions throughout the book. So today we're going to look at the Auralan Legion Battalion from Battletome Lumineth Realm-Lords. This battalion's organisation is you must have one Selenar Cathalar. Probably have butchered that name, but we know which model we're talking about, the lady with the veil on. And you must also take 2 to 4 units of Venari Orellan Sentinels, that is the archers, and an equal number of units of Venari Orellan Wardens, that's the pikemen. So if you take 2 units of archers, you must take 2 units of pikes. If you take 3 units of archers, 3 units of pikes, etc. The ability you gain from this battalion is you can reroll save rolls of 1 for attacks that target a friendly unit from this battalion whilst they are within 3 inches of any other friendly units from this battalion. So what this is making us do is effectively do the whole phalanx thing. It's making us put our pikemen at the front, being a defensive bust, and giving some save rerolls to them while they all stick close together. It also means our archers are going to get some save rerolls, which is cool because the archers are pretty flimsy. And interesting too, the Cathalar can be a very important model to place throughout your lines within this battalion, because she also gives the benefits, and she counts as a model to get rerolls. So you can have 2 units of Sentinels or Wardens next to each other and linked in the middle within 3 inches of a Cathalar, who then gives them the rerolls. It can be quite useful just to have her to sort of link up the pieces of your force and enable you to get that little bit bigger board space control. So we'll look into the army list now, and so the army playing obviously Lumineth Realm-Lords, and we've chosen to take the sub-faction Zytrak. So the reason why I chose this is because Zytrak effectively makes all your wizards better. So you can add one to the first casting and dispelling or unbinding roll you make with friendly Zytrak wizards in each hero phase. In addition, they will know one extra spell. So this gives all our units, because don't forget all the units that are Venari all have magical potential. So this allows them to have some bit more utility around the table. And we'll go into that in a little bit more in a second. But it also means they've got a better chance of doing stuff. So combined with some of the other buffs we get throughout the army, they're going to be casting at a pretty high level. Everything here also gets some nice splash mortal wound spell in addition, so we're actually getting 3 spells altogether, because everyone gets to get the Zytrak wizard spell Overwhelming Heat, which you can pick one unit and you can halve the move characteristic of that unit, which is really, really good considering this army likes to fight as a block, so it can be a little bit slow. But if the roll is equal to or greater than the unit's save characteristic when you make a roll, you can also do D3 mortal wounds, so that's pretty cool as well. So let's get into the list, and we're starting, of course, with Archmage Teclas and Selenar, the Spirit of Haish. It's just, once again, it's just hard not to include Teclas. He does so much for the army, and I really do want to look into potentially writing the Lumineth list without Teclas in them, because for me, like narrative gaming, the big characters don't come out to play all the time, but he gives a lot to this army, and being in Zytrak, we also get some additional benefits, as well as our artifact on the scenario Cathalai, who is our general, which we'll talk about now. So the command trait Fast Learner, so the general can attempt to unwind 1 extra spell in each enemy hero phase. In addition, the second time that the general attempts to unbind a spell in the same enemy hero phase, you can re-roll that unbinding result. So this gives our Cathalai here some cool dispel potential, which combined with Teclas can really sort of hopefully shut down most magic phases you are going to play against. We've then got the Gift of Selenar, which is a cool artifact. So roll a dice each time you allocate a wound or mortal wound to the bearer. Add 2 to the roll if Teclas is part of your army and on the battlefield. So once again, this is Teclas pulling into this army. On a 6+, that wound or mortal wound is negated. So it's going to be on a 4+ now, which is going to give our Cathalai some nice survivability. For our battle line units now, to fill out the battalion, we chose to take 3 units of Venari Auralan Sentinels and 3 units of Venari Auralan Wardens. All the Wardens are 10 strong, so we've got 3 units of them at 10 strong, 30 Wardens altogether. Now we've gone for the same spells on every unit, and this is mostly because we want all the units to be able to do the job that we need them to do and get to where they need to. So we've taken Speed of Haish on all of them, so this is in case they need to wander off from our main force and go claim objectives. They can get a little bit extra movement with this. And Ethereal Blessing, this is for when they do have to go off by themselves, they can make themselves ethereal and hopefully do some work with that and just be able to hold objectives that a little bit better. For the Sentinels, we've taken 2 units of 20 and 1 unit of 10, and we've given them all Lambent Light and Speed of Haish. Speed of Haish, once again, this just allows us to be able to put these units where we need them to go. This gives them a little bit more movement and can really help. Lambent Light is an interesting spell, gives us some rerolls and some offensive buffs with their shooting attacks, which is cool. The battalion, we're obviously taking the Auralan Legion, and Endless Spells, we're taking the Suffocating Gravetide. We had a spare 20 points, so why not throw the Gravetide in? The reason why the Gravetide's great for this is because, once again, this army likes to fight as a block, so having a large base Endless Spell just to fill in gaps in your lines can actually be quite useful. This also can give some cool cover benefits to our own units, as we're not going to be as badly affected by them if we've got spells and buffs up. So that's cool. So you can push this in front, really make your opponent have to struggle to get through those Venari Auralan Wardens. So the total of the army, this all comes to 2,000 points. We get an extra command point, obviously, for taking a battalion. We've not taken any allies, and we've got a nice 101 wounds in the army. This is probably one of the more hoardy builds I've managed to build with Lumineth Realm-Lords. Obviously, we've got Teclas in there, and I really like to see how we could do without Teclas, and what we could do with this list if we didn't have Teclas in it. We could probably take another foot mage or 2 and replace, and then up those numbers of our archers and spearmen and really push into this battalion. This, of course, would not make us 1-drop, but we'll see how that goes. Would we need to take those other characters potentially, or could we just push the extra 2 units? That would be interesting to look at. But I'd like to know your thoughts on this list, and if you're building anything similar with this battalion for Lumineth Realm-Lords, so please leave that in the comments down below. So I hope you enjoyed this video talking about the battalions from Lumineth Realm-Lords. If you did, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Every subscription means the world to us here at Sentinels Gaming. And also, while you're at it, you might want to jump down in the links in the description. You can find our Twitch channel, which you should definitely go follow and help us hit 50 followers nice and quick. Also, you can find links to our Discord channel where you can chat with me and other members of the community. And you'll find the link to our Patreon, where you can choose to support the channel in other ways. And lastly, a special thank you to all our Patreon supporters, our Sinful Guard Militia, Christian Weir, Siren, Philip Ward and Cowspawn. You guys are fantastic. And our Sinful Free Guild Regiment member, James, thank you very much. That's all from us today, though. Stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the Grey.